Dr. Alison, Edgar, MBE. Mind blown for you, but not for me. Congratulations, Ali.
Oh,
Ladies and
Bernie, you'll
gentlemen.
make me cry. You'll make me cry.
Oh, listen, all of you who have managed to come on now, and those who will come on after. I am pleased to introduce you to Dr. Alison Edgar, MBE. I'm also pleased to announce that she is, well, I've announced it every chance I get, but in this forum, that she's my mentor. And she has been my mentor for years. And Ali, welcome to my little studio. It's been a while since we caught up. You're doing some incredible things. But first of all, I just want you to tell the audience, just say hello, tell the audience why it is that you're so excited to be on this program today and what we're going to be talking about.
So, first of all, thank you, Bernie. I laugh every single time you say, "Oh, she's my mentor." I, I just like you ask me questions and I just give you the answers.
Well,
Sometimes it's the answers you want to hear, sometimes maybe the answers that you don't want to hear. But I think just by giving you those little answers, I can't make you take action, Bernie. I can give you all the advice in the world, and I can't make you take the action. You are your own mentor. You drive yourself forward,
uh,
and I think you see the purpose in helping other people, and that's I think why we're aligned. So I think what we're going to talk about is trying to help as many of your audience to be able to do what maybe I do for you, to be able to help them to smash it.
yes.
We've also got an event coming up, a live event, first one I've done in 5 years in Bath, the Apex Hotel, 16th of January. And I think we're going to be talking about that as well. Maybe we've got a wee offer for MD that wants to attend.
I think maybe we have a wee offer here, Ali. But let's just I was actually talking about you yesterday in my master in diversity training, and I was telling people about how the whole group think and the information bubble kind of effect that we have, where if we only listen to and click on and engage with certain types of people within our socials, we end up actually being in this bubble. And I was sharing how I noticed when I launched Bernie Davis Global in 2020, and you said to me I should call it global. Do you remember how I choked every time I tried to say global? But what you were telling me was that's where I want to go. That's where I needed to pitch myself. I needed to get comfortable with it. But then I also needed to make my social media engagement align with it. And I shared how I did, tweak my social media to such an extent that all I was getting was global engagement. And I had to then say, no, I need my region. So I had to shift how I was engaging on socials so that I could capture my actual local region. And so, there is always some relevance in whatever I do to the wisdom that you've shared with me from the very outset. And over the years, as you say, you've not really been hands-on, but there's so much knowledge that you've given me at the very outset. And so now it's just a matter of, Ali, what do you think? What do oh no, Bernie, or Bernie, I'm seeing you going this direction. This is how you need to go. But why Alison Edgar, MBE, Dr. Alison Edgar, MBE, and Bernie Davis Global and Master in Diversity? Why? I'll tell you why. Because here's another secret which some of you who might not know. And those of you who are online listening now and those who will pick up afterwards, please still engage. But you can engage. You know how it works in my LinkedIn lives. Pop your comments in. I'll bring your comments in online live, and we will respond. Pop your questions in for Ali. I'll bring your questions in live, and we will deal with those questions as well. But Alison, tell the audience about your own diversity, more to the point, neurodiverse journey.
Yeah, I think I wanted to just pick up on one of the other things you said before I share that is,
Yes.
you were talking about the bubble. I think like the echo chamber, if you just sit in a room with people that are like you with the same opinions, you're not actually learning anything new. And one of
Hmm.
my lines that I genuinely believe is that I believe that nothing should hold you back. Race, gender, age, disability. I think that it's looking at the things that people would deem as being negative or hold you back and take them into a positive. And I think that's where, like, we obviously had that conversation back in 2020 when we looked at, when you moving into the like diversity and inclusion space, because I think you are the role model for people in that area, and you will help people from a diversity and inclusion perspective to transform themselves and seeing the things as a positive. So I think that was one of our things that we sort of clicked on quite early. But for me, I would say the thing that held me back, and I used to use as a crutch, was my neurodiversity. And I didn't even know it was a thing, right? When I went to school, I thought that I was a bit thick. I thought that I was stupid. I thought I couldn't read, couldn't write. And like the voice in my head was going, "Oh, you're really silly. You don't know. And like reading and writing was always a struggle. And one of the things that I really remember from early childhood was when you were in class and you were in English class, you had to read a paragraph from a book and you had to stand up and read that paragraph in front of all your peers. And honestly, it was so embarrassing. It made me, I mean, it just made me feel sick, even thinking about it, and even reflecting on it now, it does. But what I think, um, we didn't know that there was such a thing as dyslexia or neurodiversity, and the teachers, I genuinely think at that stage of the game didn't really know either. So they would affirm the voices in the head, like, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
not trying hard enough. Oh, you're just putting it on. Oh, you're just acting like you can't read." I'm like, mm. And the other thing is retention of information. That's like, I
Yes.
cannot retain information. And that became really apparent when I was studying for GCSEs, O levels, that I would do something, I would thought I had learned it, would go for dinner, come back, and none of the stuff was in my head. It was all gone.
Mm.
So I think what I did really was take that the day that I realized this is a superpower, because I might not be very good at these things, stop focusing on the things I'm not very good at and really focus on double down on what I am good at. So I
So,
know that
question
I'm going
I
to
ask you,
get people.
Ali, when did you actually realize that?
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about in my late 20s, early 30s, and what had happened was I used to work for Yellow Pages selling advertising, and what would happen was like you would have a host of different types of businesses, so builders, plumbers, whatever it was, and one of my clients was an optician. So I can remember the company, it was Spooners, and they were in Keynsham in Bristol. And I had ended up going to see them to sell them an advert. And they had said, I'd said something about, oh, at that stage, I had to write the paperwork manually. So I'm writing the paperwork manually. And I'm, oh, I'm really sorry. I really struggle with spelling. I'm really struggle with writing. This might take me a wee bit longer. And the optician said, have you ever been tested for dyslexia? And I'm like,
Wow.
no, I don't even know what is this thing. And they said, like, it's when the words get all jumbled up, and again, it's really hard for you to read. And I'm like, oh, it felt like somebody just for the first time in my life had understood what I was going through, that they could see things through my world. And he did this sort of test with these coloured lenses, because they say that obviously it's not a
Yes.
disease, it's not something that you can cure, but there's things that can really give you coping strategies or can help you.
Yes.
And you put the coloured lens on, and it helped. It didn't make it 100% better, but I thought, wow. But I think it wasn't even about having a
Ali,
coloured
can I just
lens.
interject here? That just reminds me of Tony Clarkston. Some of you might know Tony. She sponsored the Cognitive and Neurodiversity Zone for Master in Diversity 2024. And she explained to me about the color blue, the paper. So if the on the paper, if the paper was blue that the words are on, she could read that
Mm,
better. So that's interesting what you're talking about. The colored lenses there.
yeah,
Isn't that, did you have a particular color that was good for you?
it was like a green colour, and this sounds really bizarre, but
Yeah.
what I then discovered was I didn't really want to go around wearing blue lenses in my glasses. I was maybe a bit too vain. Um, but I think it was more around the clarity that there was something not right. That
Oh my gosh,
made me
yes.
think. So, but by then, I think I'm trying to think because I started work there. I think I was about, I'd say I was about 31, 32 when this happened.
Mm.
But this had obviously been going on from, well, when I realized I'm like from age 11. So I
Yeah.
had already found ways to cope with it and deal with it and mask it. And,
I was
so
going to ask you about masking. Yes, tell me about that.
yeah. Yeah, so I would just try and avoid all situations where I had to read out loud. I would
Mm,
sort of say, oh, what I'll do is I'll do your paperwork at home and then I'll come back to you with the paperwork. So,
mm,
and when it came to like just reading emails, I don't know, I just try to avoid it. I think there was a lot of avoidance. Whereas now I've got things like I've got a audio aid on my laptop. So
mhm.
before I send an email, it comes back and I've set it to Scottish. So I've got this, I call her Fiona. Fiona reads all my emails before I send it because another thing with the dyslexia, you miss the small words, the as, the,
Mm,
and in your head you've written it. So I'll
mm.
tell you, if I write an email, I'll go, that email's perfect, right? I've written that, it's perfect. And then Fiona reads it and it's not perfect, it's far from perfect. So it's things like that that I think have always been the coping strategy. But I think now the other thing that's changed, Bernie, is
Mhm.
it's more mainstream, it's more acceptable to be neurodiverse. That there's been, and again,
Ostensibly,
everyone.
ostensibly it is. But we do in my work and getting going into organizations, doing audits, looking at you know the culture, and also speaking of it, because one of the key things I've discovered in the diverse and inclusion space is conversations, stories. It's really a collective of people's experiences, lived experiences that we can use to teach us and inform us as to what's happening and how we can actually help. And what I've found is that there are still people who are, when they think like what you said, oh yes, I've got my diagnosis. Yeah, it's not more mainstream that they say that they are neurodiverse to their employers, and they end up losing their jobs.
That's not
It's
good.
still
I mean,
happening, Ali,
yeah.
and that's something else. But when you and I mean, I know we're kind of on the diversity and inclusion space at the moment, because that is one of the commonalities that we share in terms of where our passion is. But I want to quickly get onto the other side of the your superpower, and that is what it is that discovery one did for you, which you started on, but then also what have you managed to achieve, you know and let's just, because, and it's not about showing off, it is actually, Ali, about giving encouragement, because people will be listening to this uh, afterwards, because it does get a good viewer. So the people will be, they say they come back and have the coffee and they watch it, and they are encouraged, and you'll get a lot coming back to you after this. So if you could just share and encourage those who might think, gosh, oh yeah, it's okay for you, what do you
Oh,
mean? Yeah,
Bernie,
share.
it's interesting because that's one of the things that I try and avoid people thinking.
Mhm,
And I would say that there's two things. I think if people use a word to describe me, there's two words that feature heavily. One is energy. People are like, oh,
mm,
she's got so much energy.
yes.
And the other one is relatability. So I think that's why I used to watch speakers when I worked in corporate and,
Mhm,
oh, they've climbed a mountain, they've got an Olympic gold, they went round the world in a boat, and you go, yay, that's brilliant for them. But I
mm,
can't relate to any of that. Whereas I think for me, yeah, you might sit here and you go, oh yeah, she's got a doctorate, she's got an MBE, oh, she's not like me. I am. I'm like everyone. I'm like your normal. One of my biggest struggles is trying to get the washing out the washing machine before it smells. And I
mm.
laugh about that, but that is honestly like one of the struggles. Where do I put that? Where am I going to get that? How am I going to get that done before it starts to smell? So I think
I love it.
the journey itself. So I didn't. I I was working in corporate, so I worked for Yellow Pages, like I said, for 15 years, and I genuinely thought, that phrase "job for life," and I was working
Mm,
part time because I was bringing up the kids, and I just genuinely didn't want to change, didn't think I would have to change. and again, I talk about it in my TEDx. It features really heavily in my TEDx that
Mm-hmm.
I went to work one day in the CEO's roadshow was in town, and we were all waiting to hear the direction moving forward, and it was all we're dead excited, like, because we knew that there was so much going on in the media space and the advertising space and the internet space, and everything was like we were like, oh, this is going to be brilliant. And the CEO turned around and said, oh, we've invested in buying more paper directories in Europe and North America because that Google thing will never catch on. And it was like, oh, how it's already caught on, like we're cannon fodder. So that was the
Oh,
thing, like I'm
oh,
frontline customers, and all I'm hearing every day was, oh yeah, Google, 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 Google. And this guy's going, oh, it'll never catch on. It was like, this is
you know,
ridiculous.
Alison, that is exactly one of the things that we have to watch out for, that we stay in a place where others have moved on.
Yeah, all the time. And I think it's not even just I'm talking about it from a business perspective. I think
Yeah,
it's a life perspective as
yeah.
well. And I talk about this in the TEDx, like change on the way up, not on the way down. And we
Mm-hmm.
look at health, people go, oh, I've had a poor prognosis. Oh, I'm going to do something differently now. Whereas if you'd have changed earlier, you might not have got that prognosis in the first place. And I think it's that evolution of yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't stand here and talk about that without that knowledge, because I don't think I would have evolved. Something happened, and hearing that comment from the CEO was like, right, I've got to
Mm-hmm.
take action now. Whereas a lot of people wouldn't have taken action. They would just have moaned or complained or, bitched on about it and done nothing. Whereas I think that's, for me, I would say one of my strengths is, um, I'm not scared to make change. And I think that's, you know, it's hard. I talk about metathesiophobia, which is the fear of change. And I think we've
Mm-hmm.
all got fear of change because it's the way our brain works.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is one of the superpowers of neurodiversity and dyslexia, that you're not as scared to change because you don't I don't mean that badly, but I don't think through maybe the consequences, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people overthink the consequences because
Overthinking. Yes.
the way their brain works. I don't have that. My positivity is like, well, what's the worst? I fail, I get back up and I do it again. So that's where I think the positive of having neurodiversity in your organization is strong.
Mm-hmm.
So then I set the business up. It's all going really well. And there was government funding again. Like that's one of the tips I've always gone for you. Like, where's the money kicking around?
Yes.
Because follow
Yes.
the
Yes.
cash will look after you. And
Yes.
then the government pulled the funding, and I thought, well, what am I going to do? How can I help people? And again, that's, I think, where we bond, Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
genuinely do what we want to do. It's not necessarily about monetizing, that's great, but it's
Mm-hmm.
about that
Yes.
genuine wanting to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So then this is where the neurodiversity, this is where the dyslexia really was holding me back, and I had to work really hard to overcome it, because I've got a friend that's sort of she kind of, for lack of a better word, she mentors me. She's a friend from school, and if I'm at a crossroads, I'll always phone Lorraine. And I phoned Lorraine and said, "Look, what am I going to do?" She goes, "You're going to write a book." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can't write. I'm stupid. I'm thick. I can't write a paragraph. I'm dyslexic. Blah blah blah." She goes, "Well, you better learn." So again, sometimes again, like the way I do to you, Lorraine does to me. So I wrote the first book, and that was 2019, and it was a W.H. Smith top 10 business book. The Independent voted it one of the top business books written by a woman. Why that makes a difference, no idea.
I know.
It also was, they use it as the framework for all the apprenticeships in Ireland, the sales apprenticeships. So again, it was a difficult journey to write it. There was definitely tears and tantrums. I had help. Kaya, who I think you met,
Mm-hmm.
who was in my team, still is in the team sort of remotely in Portugal. Like her
Mm-hmm.
and I really worked through it together. And I think that's one of the other things, like, when you are trying to achieve these goals, you don't have to go alone. It's okay to write a book and have help to write a book. And again, I never use it as an excuse, if that makes sense. But for me, I've got a hidden disability, so it's okay for somebody to help me to be able to achieve the goals. It's like if you've got a physical disability, sometimes you need somebody to help you and support you. And so to me, it's the same thing as having, you know, you know, don't use it as an excuse, but it's okay for people to help you, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You now have entered into the other zone that a lot of people don't contemplate. It's a hidden disabilities. You know,
Yeah.
the ones that we mask, and they're the ones that are unseen. You
Yeah,
know,
and I think
That-
that's 100%. So
yeah.
again, sometimes, I think it's being honest with yourself and truthful with yourself, but coming back to writing the books, I never thought, Bernie, genuinely never thought I'd write a book. And
But it's two books, Ali.
it's two books. It's two books, and I think
Yes.
that's where it comes back to, what we were talking about the live event, because the first one was a book about sales. Now, what I discovered is that a lot of people don't like sales. I love sales. I
Mhm.
could talk about it all day. But I decided to write a personal development book, even though
Yes.
I'd never read a personal development book.
But you
So
lived a personal
I
development book.
lived it. And this is the thing, Bernie, and this is, I think, the thing that makes me relatable, makes me, not
Mhm.
different to everyone else, but I do my own path. I don't follow
Mhm.
anybody else's path. I follow my own
Mhm.
path. And what
Absolutely.
and when I wrote Smash It, it was to try and create a blueprint for people to enhance their lives,
Mhm.
to enhance their personal lives, their professional lives. Because when people say to me, well, what does smash it actually mean? Honestly, I think to smash it is to be happy. I think, like,
Mm.
surely, what is your goal, that you get up every day and you think, oh, I'm living my best life, I'm loving my life?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what it's not about monetizing, and
Yes. Smash it
you
is your, as you say, to be happy. It is what your idea of smashing it is. So everybody smash
100%.
it is
Everybody's is
different.
different. It's different, and this
Yes.
is where, and what I discovered on the journey, and this is the thing that really does my head in, big style, Bernie, is some of the parts of the personal development market are filthy, dirty, manipulative to try and get
Mhm.
people to spend
Oh,
money. They
tell
prey
me
on the
about it.
broken. They prey on people that are bereaved or divorced or just seriously unhappy.
Mhm.
And what they do is they smell them out and they go, oh, I can get these people to spend a lot of money with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we even
Yes.
like when we do we're and Smash It Live 16th of January in Bath.
Yes. Yes.
There's no upsell. There's no upsell,
Mhm.
so that not it won't be run to the back, buy
Mhm.
my big ticket item. I've not got a big ticket item, and the reason that I
Mhm.
can do this is
You
all the things
already have big
I
tickets.
have,
You don't.
and
You're
this is
doing this for.
yeah.
I would love you to share the story, Ali, as to why you're doing this live, uh, because it was. I remember you shared about somebody who told you what a difference one of your events made in his life. Do you
Oh,
remember? And
I
that is, share that story so people understand. That this is, and also share the places that you go, and the successes that you have in these places, so that people understand that this is
yeah.
a gift. This is an
Yeah,
absolute gift.
if I start with where I'm at really and why there is no upsell, is
Mhm.
because what I now do, again, starting a business with no client. I had no client, didn't even have one client, started it from nowhere. I'm now working with some of the biggest brands in the world: Adobe, Amazon, MetLife, LVMH, DHL, WH Smith, Curry's, like you name it. I'm working with a lot of big brands, and they pay me like a decent wad to go in there and speak to their team about my topics to smash it and things like that. So I don't have to monetize from
Mhm.
people that don't have much money. I don't have to do that. I have to obviously cover costs, so sorry. But we've got a mutual friend who hilariously, just before we went live, phoned you, and he texted me
Yes,
yesterday and I'm phoning him later. So we're both talking to the same person. And it's the amazing, wonderful
yes,
Jamie Beast, who we
yes,
both have mutual love. We've got so many
yes,
mutual people that we love.
yes,
And he ran an event he runs Evo. He runs Evo, which is his sort of networking thing, and Evo
yes,
Ultra, which is he does a lot in Wales, doesn't he? He's really
yes,
smashing that space.
yes, yes,
He's such a lovely man.
yes,
Um, and he said, Alison, can you come and speak at my breakfast event in Bristol? And I live in Chippenham, so it's very handy. He said, I'll shout you breakfast at the Ivy. Come along. And again, that's what I mean. I talk about giving back to other people. Like, I don't get paid
Yeah.
to go and do that. I do it for like a 15 quid breakfast at the Ivy. Sometimes I'm just out there doing what I do. So, and this is what was a game changer. This is what prompted this event. So we did a Q&A, bit like this, sitting doing a fireside chat. Then what happened was he came to the Q&A at the end, and somebody put up their hand. His name's Mark, and he runs a charity. And he said, Alison, don't know if you know this, but when you used to run live events, you gave away charity spaces. And I'm like, I always give away charity spaces because I know they don't really have the funds to for me to work with them directly. So if I can help in any way with the charities, I do. And again, it comes back to a similar concept that we talk about, Bernie, isn't it? Like, don't just give a fish, give the fishing rod and teach somebody how to fish, and it can change their life forever. So he said, Alison, you gave space to Claire. He said, and you completely transformed her. It was like night and day. She did your course. She came back. She was completely transformed. And I was like, oh. And he said, but what you don't know was the knock-on effect. You then transformed the charity because Claire was driving that, and the people that the charity helped. Well, Bernie, I just started to cry. And I think it's like, you don't know the impact that you make because, again, you and I, we get up in the morning, we do our do, we just do what we do. We're doing it for ourselves to just smash it, be happy in our lives. But we don't always reflect back on the impact. So I just start crying. There we are. I'm crying away. So I come back to my team, Rebecca and Jazz, who and they said, well, you know what that means? And I'm like, do I? And they're like, we need to do another live event, help more people. And honestly, I mean, you know yourself, Bernie, from the stuff that you've done with the networking, it's horrific trying to get people to commit to coming to events. It's hard work. So that's where
the
when you've got
organization of it as well, the whole production of an event.
So much. So that's why coming back to friends, like you when you're running something like that, you go to your friends and go, I'm running this, can you help me promote it? So that's why part of the reason we're on here today is to help share some knowledge and information and inspire people, but also trying to see who's coming to our event in January, because you're going to be there.
The thing about it is this, and what I say to people, there's nothing wrong with offering something if it's a mutually beneficial situation. And to be honest, with your life, it's more 60-40, 70-30 to the person who attends, as opposed to 50-50 mutual benefit, because at the end of the day, you don't need to do the live show. But
no, I don't need to do it.
You need to do the live show only because you feel committed to making that difference after hearing what that gentleman said. That's your need factor. That's your need factor. And people like us actually get so much out of the heart effect of when we do something. It's just like there's nothing that can compare. No money can compare to how that feeling. It can.
No,
and so. Honestly, so I know straight away when you told me the idea, I was like, yes, I have my ticket long time.
Yeah, you had your ticket, one of the very first tickets, Bernie.
Straight up, and I know, folks, listen, don't miss it. You're in Wales, Bath isn't far. London isn't far to get the kind of benefit that you need to get. Scotland isn't far. We need to invest in ourselves. And it's
but the great thing, if anybody's coming from Swansea, I don't think it works from Cardiff, but from Swansea, there's this offer that GWR trains do. And I think, so I don't know, say a train on a peak train to get from Swansea to Bath is, let's say 100 quid or whatever it is. I'm making these prices up, but it's stupid money. Like, they give you this discount code and it brings it down to like £28. So even if somebody's, if cash is an issue, the fact that this GWR train pass thing, like 28 quid,
what is that? So how does one take that advantage of that? How they do this? Do they just Google it? How do they?
Yeah, no, they've got to come through us because we've got the code. So once they
through you. Oh my goodness! You managed to get that?
Yeah.
Bernie,
don't forget, the book is called Smash It, The Art of Getting What You
Oh,
Want. So like
I mean,
I'm
the
notorious
art of
for
getting what
getting
you
what I
want.
want. So, but it's a brilliant deal. I'm sure it's something like 28 quid in London. Like if anybody's coming in from London,
Oh my
if
gosh.
I'm going into London on a peak train from Chippenham, right, it's something like 270 quid. From London, it's something like 48 on this discount code. So, I can see
Oh,
that people would go, oh,
no
I've got to get
excuse
there.
there.
And we've got discount codes for accommodation as well. So if anybody's coming in and want to stay over, like we've got
Yes.
booth. I'm the queen of the discounts. Honestly, I'll tell you a wee aside thing, Bernie. It was my birthday yesterday and I was in Bath, right?
Yes. Happy
And the girls got me
birthday.
thank you, this wee tiara that said birthday girl. I tell you what, guess what? Like on the day we went to see Wicked and we had a bite to eat and we
Oh,
did a bit of
oh.
shopping. Do you know how much free stuff I got yesterday? Like, honestly, Bernie, about 120 quid's worth of free stuff. I got four free cocktails. I got 10% off my food. I got 10% off perfume shopping. I got a free
Oh,
product in Lush. I got a free makeup bag in MAC worth about 40 quid. You
ooh.
name it. Like, you don't just write that book without actually
Live in
living and
it.
breathing it.
That's incredible, honestly, Ali. All right. So I also am the queen of getting what I want. I've learned
Yeah.
from the best. So this is what I want you to do now, Ali. Please share just 5-10 minutes. Give us some value. I'm going to spotlight you. Give us some value. Share
Okay.
something. Yeah. Show them what it's all about.
So during Smash It Live, what we're going to be covering is, first of all, goal setting, right? I think it was quite interesting when I wrote Smash It, The Art of Getting What You Want, it was formulated from a statistic that I'd found online. So it was during COVID. And one of the things was like 8% of people achieve their goals, according to Inc. magazine. And I'm like, 8%, that's so low. 92% of people are really not getting what they want and they're not achieving goals. And I thought, no, I've got to do something about this. So, first of all, I had to work out, well, hold on, why is that statistic so low? So, first of all, I think a lot of people don't set goals. I think a lot of people just wander through and let life happen to them rather than taking life into their own hands to be able to achieve what they want. I also think that people maybe do it at work. If you're working in a job, you would do it through your PDPs, like your personal development plans. But I think they don't cover their personal things. I think they don't document it down. I think they don't have a vision. So, you were saying earlier about how much I've achieved. I've always had a vision board. Like I wanted to become a doctorate. I wanted to become an MBE. I wanted to write books, wanted to work in corporate. So and also another little top tip I do is the year of the. So I had the year of the Jag. That was the year I managed to achieve getting the car that I wanted. The year of the handbag that I wanted. The year of the books. The year of just various things. So I call it the year of the, and that's the overall 12-month goal that I really want to achieve. 2025 is the year of the bureaus because I do a lot of work speaking at corporate events, but I really want a better relationship so that they find me the work rather than me having to hustle so hard to find it myself. The other thing is with your goals, a lot of your goals are you. So if you want to take up running or you want to take up golf or whatever you want to do, that tends to be a you thing. The other thing is there are goals that involve somebody else. So if you want to buy a house with someone, if you want to get a promotion at work, if you want to, sometimes our goals don't just involve us, they involve other people. So I segment into really analysing deep down what your goals are. The other thing we'll be doing is really looking at why. Like why? So why did I want a doctorate? Why did I want an MBE? Well, it's not for having like extra letters on my StreamYard name. It's to have that kudos, like because if people have got that, they're going to listen to what I'm saying. It's standing out from the crowd. And Bernie, we've talked about this for years. Why would you blend in when you can stand out? It's our duty to stand out from the crowd so that we can inspire so many more people. And I think that's where so many people are scared of standing out. They just want to blend in, and that's fine. Like there's no right and there's no wrong on that. But if your passion is to help people, and you're it's a busy sea of people, you can't help them if they don't know who you are. It's your duty. And like we've talked about this for many, many, many times, of why it was so important for you to stand out and how you stand out. I think the other thing, again, coming back to achieving your goals, there's so much. Every chapter that we wrote in Smash It, as Kaya and I and Rebecca and I went through those chapters to work out, well, what have we learned? Because I think every day is a school day. You know, every day you have to really reflect back and go, right, what did I learn today? What did I learn today? What did I learn today? So we learned every chapter is mindset. Like literally, it's between you and your head in most cases. And like what a lot of people say to me, if you, especially on interviews like this, if you had a goal for someday, or if you could give a gift to the world, what would your gift be? And it'd be like, I'd love to put like growth mindset into a little Pandora box and give it to every single person. Go, here's one for you, here's one for you, here's one for you, here's one for you. But you can't give that to someone. You've got to be able to cultivate your own growth mindset and be able to come out of your own comfort zone and be able to overcome your own fears. So to me, I mean, these are some of my pearls of wisdom that hopefully will help some of your audience.
Well, do you know what, Ali? Folks, if she listens to me, you've heard it here first. But I kind of think your third book's title is The Growth Mindset.
I think Carol Dweck got there before me, Bernie. I think she'll be taking me
Oh,
for
oh, they're
trademark
taking it.
issues. I think she'll be having me.
Oh, the
But
growth mindset.
we do cover it in both the books. I have got a third book that's lined up. Hopefully, I've got a couple of things I need to sort out. But the plan is that 2025 will be the year of the third book. But that's not the title. But I'm not telling you quite what the title
All
is.
right.
We
Okay. I'm
have
not
got
getting
that.
any. Yeah, we have
It's
to keep
on the.
something back. We've got to keep something back. But you
Well, do
talked
you know
about
what?
mindset. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go on.
I do think that coming back to the goal setting, and that this is another little sort of tip in there, that
Yes. Let's
never
grab the
take it
tip.
off. If you've got a goal, so things like the doctorate or whatever, or writing a book, or never take it off of your goal board if that is your goal. But sometimes it's okay to push back the time frame, the timeline. So if that book, I'm confident it will happen in 2025, but if it doesn't, I won't beat myself up if it happens in 2026, but it will happen. You just have to know that it will happen. And that's where a lot of people give up on their goals because it hasn't happened straight away. I think the biggest lesson I've ever learned in my whole life is patience.
Mm.
Literally, patience is the biggest lesson that I've had to learn because I want
You know,
everything
you
yesterday.
also taught me, Ali, it's the art of silence, the value of silence sometimes. Because I know there are times in our journey you've said to me, "Oh, Bernie, things are happening, but I can't tell you yet." Or I have this plan, but I can't tell you yet. You know, and I've heard, and I've kind of started to see that there is also value in the goal setting and the targeting stage of sometimes not sharing. If you wanted to talk to me about that balance between positive affirmation, speaking things out, and then also keeping silent in the goal setting and in pursuit of your goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that I think sometimes accountability, when you do speak out about a goal, accountability. And I also think, like, for me, I have tried to create a path for people to follow. So, like
Mhm.
for you, Bernie, I'm like, well, if you want to stand out even further, things like a doctorate, things like the MBE, they're not easy to achieve, but it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they're unachievable. But I
Mhm.
think it's timing is everything when you announce, because also you want to bring people behind you, but you've got to create that pathway first. And it's, if you look at it as climbing a mountain, right? If you say the summit of the mountain is getting to that goal, that you want to create that pathway so that people can just follow it. But what
Mhm.
you don't really want to do is like get people over, like going over your pathway to stomp over the top of your head to get there. So it's okay to create that, but I think if you want to be the leader in that space, create it first. You don't have to speak out for it and
Yeah.
then create it for people. Because the other thing is, people might try and get to the summit before you, but they might
Mhm.
fall off the edge of the cliff. If you
Mhm.
believe that you're thought leader. To me, that's what thought leadership is. It's not about holding people back, but you want to make a path that's safe for people to climb to the summit rather than them trying to overtake you on that pathway and falling off. So you're doing it as, again, thought leadership, being the leader of the pack, and then coming out, getting people
Yeah.
behind you.
And then also the whole thing about dream killers, sharing it
Yeah.
to the wrong person, and they oh, you can't do that,
Yeah.
or what about this? What about that? Sometimes it's best to just say, I have this plan, I have this idea, but when it's done, I'll tell that person. Maybe you share it with your
Yeah.
mentor, but not,
Not out. I think it holds it back because it also gives you more of a safety net if you do fall off the cliff. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing, that it's like you might say, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and it's great that you say you're going to do that. But if you don't do it, people are going to be, "Yeah, she said she was going to do that. She said she's going to do it.
I
She didn't
know, and
do it."
especially when what you have to do is not just solely dependent on you.
That's the we thing.
It is, it is that kind of thing, because you can't really vouch for anybody else but yourself. And even with
Yeah.
yourself, there are things that can happen, ill health, or
Your
something
health is your
bad.
wealth, Bernie. That's the main thing.
And what I love about you, Ali, that's another example that you said for me. And you never once said, Bernie, you need to look after your health. But you've actually, what's the word now? You've led by example
Yeah, I
with how
practice what I
you,
teach. I think it's
yeah,
so important. And I think that, coming back to the part about the poor prognosis, like I know that firsthand. Like, I'd gone to the doctor, really struggling to walk, and it turns out I had arthritis. And I thought, oh, that's great. What medicine do you get for that? And they're like, no, you have to change your lifestyle. And I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, oh, you need to do regular exercise. You need to eat a bit healthier. You need to drink less wine. La 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 la. And it was like, oh, right, okay. And I did a complete, and this was, well, I was 57 yesterday, so this is 7 years ago that I made that change. And I took up running. There's a whole story about the
gosh,
London Marathon, but I took up running, and I
yeah.
did couch to 5K, couch to 10K, couch to half marathon, climb Mount Snowdon. And now I'm pretty much, when I work away a lot, as you know, but when I'm
I
here,
know, I
pretty
know.
much 7
When I
o'clock every
grow up, I
morning.
want to be you, Ali.
I don't know. But I go like 7, I get it done. And now I really kind of enjoy exercise. But, you can't talk about smashing it. You can't write a book called Smash It and not smash it. And I
Yeah,
think that's the thing that
that
keeps me
was.
accountable, is I am a
Mhm.
role model to a lot of people. And like even this morning, Bernie, and I was on Facebook and I put this post, I don't know, somebody put a post out. I met them at Entrepreneur of the Year Awards last week when I met
Mhm.
Chelsea. We were in, obviously, the event in London.
Yes,
And this
yes.
girl had followed me from from the Clubhouse days. So this is like, what's that, 4 years ago
Oh
now?
gosh, you are
And
smashing it in Clubhouse.
oh, amazing. I mean, it was, again, I don't mean that badly, because I know a lot of people had bad times during the pandemic, but it was a great time for me to recalibrate, to refocus, to really take it on to the next level. And, this girl comes running up to me. I didn't know who she was. And she's like, oh, I can't believe you're here. And I'm like, honestly, I felt a bit celeb. I'm not celeb, I'm just me. I felt a bit celeb. And she's like, can I take a picture and do this? And I was like, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, she put a post out to say that, I'm one of her heroes, and she couldn't believe that she'd
oh,
met me. And I don't crave, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday when we were in Bath. I don't crave
yeah.
fame. Right. So again, why blend in when you can stand out? It's not like I want to do reality TV. It's not like I want to make money through whatever it is. I've just got to keep pushing myself so that lady, I change her game. Like, she's changing her game because she's following the pathway. She's
That's
behind
the
me
thing,
for
Ali.
counting.
It's position for purpose. So
Yeah.
you're not craving the position because you want to say, look at me, but the position allows you to carry your message in places that you would
I
not
love
be
that
able
phrase.
to make
Yeah.
that difference. The one to
Mm.
many concept is very, very important. And as you say, every day is a school day. So
Yeah.
as people are learning from you, you're also learning from being in
Oh,
these
every day.
spaces. You're also challenging and stretching yourself. So I tell people, ambition and a drive to be the best at what you do is not supposed to be about pride. It's supposed to be about the constant yearning to be better
Yeah.
while you help others to be better.
Yeah.
And when you have that combination, then you are truly moving into the realm which you are at, Ali, which is legacy making.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because we talk a lot because I know that with a personal brand,
Yes.
in any other business, it's your exit strategy, isn't it? You can never exit your personal
Yes, that's
brand. So
another one. Tell us about
yeah,
that, Ali. That's something you're big on. Yes.
well, I think it's interesting because the financial advisors like, oh, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, oh no, I'm not retiring, literally. But we laugh because like Rebecca and Jazz, they obviously they've worked for me for like Rebecca 7 years, Jazz 4 years, and it's like, well, what is the legacy? And Rebecca's like, well, see, when you die, I'll just take over and I'll be you, because like we've obviously got all the trade. We've got the trademark for Big Balls. We've got the trademark for Smash It. We've got the trademark for Entrepreneur's Godmother. We've got so many trademarks. So I think that's where that legacy piece comes in. Is that I know that the books are going to be the legacy that will take people, they'll just continue going. But the girls, I'm hoping, will take over the legacy of me to be able to still help other people when I can't do it anymore. So, but that's why I've got to stay fit, I've got to stay healthy, and I've got to stay that so that I can help as many people for as long as I can.
But what you just said, Ali, is just like, if we think you're making it up, when you say that the people who know you the most, who work the closest with you over all these years, want to carry on your legacy, want to replicate what you do, what greater testament
Yeah.
recommendation is that? Can there
Yeah.
be?
I think the other thing
It's
that,
also authenticity. It's about authenticity, and that shows that.
yeah, but I think the other thing that people don't know is how much mm, it's not just me, it's the team.
Mm,
Like you again,
mm,
and you've also known this for years. But if we look, so we everything, if we're doing a corporate event, everything we do
yeah,
is bespoke. So what we
yeah.
do is we work with them, find out the challenges they're having in that organization. We then reverse engineer the content to match that so they've got actionable takeaways. So everything is bespoke. But it's not just me that comes up with these concepts. Like
Mm,
things like the poor prognosis is obviously really relevant, but that was something that Rebecca came up with when we were doing the TEDx. Like, so when
mhm,
we did the TEDx, the girls and I worked together on what the TEDx looked like. The three of us worked together on it. I'm just
mhm,
kind of the monkey up the front that does the delivery of it. It's not just me that creates all this stuff. It's not just me that writes the book.
absolutely.
It's the team, like, a lot of the stuff. And also another part of the content, we talk about the uh, the the Honda advert. So we're doing British Airways, and we talk about in an organization, you only see 20% of the components in a car. You only see 20% of the customer facing, but you've got 80% under the bonnet. And that's where, again, that was something that Jazz came up with. So it comes out my mouth, but I didn't. It's a bit like a speech writer, if that makes sense. If you look at the
Yes,
politicians,
the team. Oh, I know. Honestly,
so,
you know,
it might come out of my mouth, but it's not me, it's we. And I think that's the important thing in a team,
absolutely.
to have
Abs-
everybody. And I give you another example. When Rebecca was sitting her apprenticeship, she nearly failed. So the girls come to me, put them through some qualifications, and then that gives them those skills. Because again, like every day's a school day, like you say. And she was devastated. She's like, I can't believe that they're saying that, this isn't good enough to get me the distinction that I want. And I'm like, but why? What's wrong with it? It's brilliant. I've just read it, I've checked it. You know what the problem was? Every way through that dissertation, she said, "We do this, we do that, we do the next thing," and a lot of that is because I never say I do anything. I'm not an I. We're a we. We work
uh,
together, and
you
she
know,
took that from me.
um,
And it's like she nearly failed and it was hard work. It was all hard work. I was checking it at the end. But I didn't write any of it. She did, but she wrote in the we rather than the I, and that's
Ali, this is something that has come up recently to somebody close to me, where they said a similar experience, and it's because of how we are wired. We're wired to not think it's just about us. But in situations, you've got to use the I, which is so difficult with people who tend to value their team and value
Yeah,
the
yeah.
collective and value the input of others, no matter how small. But there's that thing. So when you're speaking or writing, it just automatically the we comes out, but the person
Yeah.
listening doesn't grasp that actually no, it's not that they haven't done it or they're lying or they're trying to take somebody's work. It's that this person values the input of everyone in their space. It's so hard,
100%.
isn't it? It's
Mhm.
really hard.
Yeah,
Yes,
100%. I think it's so important, and I think it's important to recognize team. And obviously, I'm working with these big
I am like
organizations
that.
like you are now
Yeah.
with their team, and it's like, well, and it's so interesting because when I reflect back on having worked for a lot of leaders in organizations when I was, in jobs, like they were a bit of glory stealers. Like it was, oh, I've done this, I've done that, I've done the next thing. Oh, and
I
actually,
know.
you think you find that
Glory
you didn't do
stealers. I
all that.
love that.
There was more. There's more than you involved in that. You glory stealer.
I love it. Awesome. Ali, we're coming down into the last 10 minutes of remember when we started out talking about this live, you said, we don't need an hour. You see how quickly an hour passes, Ali?
What was wonderful to know. I think one of the things I would say that's one of my strengths is when you're in my life, you're in forever, right? That's you don't really get out, and so I'm still friends with the friends I went to school with. When
I
I
am
lived
like
in
that as well.
Australia, I'm still friends with my friends from Australia. That was 30 odd years ago, and I ended up on a call not last night, night before, with my friend Billy. So Billy was one of my first friends that I met when I moved to Australia. We lived at Ayers Rock. He's also Scottish, but he's been in Australia for 40 years, and I met him about 35 years
Yeah.
ago, 30 years ago. And we were on the phone for an hour and a half, Bernie, like he's in Australia, sitting in his garden in the sunshine. It's like
Um,
midnight. It's midnight here, like literally, because obviously with the time difference. I'm thinking, I've got to go to bed. Like this, I've got a birthday to have to. Well, it was my birthday then that day, and I'm like,
yeah.
I think that's where time and
I
you
am
come
like
back
that,
to.
the old friends. I you just talk, and you mentioned Chelsea earlier
Yeah,
on, and also have the new ones, the new friends that you feel like you've known them forever, and they come alongside you, and they just enhance your life because Chelsea, she's the owner of Cardiff Life and WCS Agency. 2 years in a row running creative
yeah,
entrepreneur of the
amazing, isn't
year.
it? Amazing.
And she's come alongside Master in Diversity. She this year they were the media partners for the Master in Diversity Conference and Awards. They're continuing to support us into 2025 as well,
Nice. Yeah,
as media partners, and we're just developing on that. And so you find that you have the old, then you also have the new, that ones that just constantly support. NatWest constantly support. Bevan
yeah,
Buckland constantly support. Scouts Cymru again coming on board. Oh gosh, Stable. All sorts of organizations that consistently. S4C. I if I've not called your name, listen, I didn't plan to do the sponsorship. I might forget who is still on board, but so many of the Augie Brown Jacobson, so many of them come consistently supporting not just the conference and awards, but also the training that comes on afterwards, because it's not about coming right back full circle. It's not about us. It's about the work that we do. You, Ali, from we met in Newport. Remember?
yeah.
We met in Newport.
Bernie, I vividly remember that day because
Yes,
it was in the football ground, wasn't it? I can't
yes,
remember which football ground, right? And I did a talk because I can remember
yes,
Tracy was there and
yes.
Sabrina Stalker was there, and there was quite a few people there that I think Ben Towers was there. There's a few of us. And I literally had just sort of come off stage, or I think I was sitting down, and this woman like literally ran from one end of the room to the other, basically it was like basically, I want to be your friend.
I know,
Like,
you're so amazing. You're so like, oh my
honestly,
gosh.
it was
And
hilarious.
you haven't been able to shake me since, Ali.
Oh, but coming back to what we were saying about Chelsea, I'm sure that you're mentoring Chelsea. So like I mentor you, you mentor Chelsea. It just makes us again
Oh no,
from
I
an
don't mentor Chelsea
ED&I.
at all.
Oh, do you not? Oh, okay. I
No,
thought you were mentoring
no,
Chelsea.
no, I don't mentor Chelsea. We just have a great mutually supportive relationship. I think
Right.
I know who one of her mentors are, which was incredible, but I am not one of them. If she gives me
Okay.
any credit for that, that's on her. But but I support. We support each other. We encourage each other in business. But and she's just incredible. So
Yeah.
yeah, I won't take any credit for
Ah,
Chelsea.
okay, right, okay. Well, she did because I said, "Oh, I mentor Bernie the other day," and she said, "Oh, I didn't know that." So yeah, but it's
Yeah,
great. But I think again, it's creating that community, especially as women in business as well, because I've
yeah.
never in my life up until I started the speaking business experienced gender imbalance. Never,
Mm,
never
mm,
experienced it, Bernie. Like literally, because when I worked in sales, I just didn't experience it. But now,
mm.
as a speaker, what happens is the
Ah,
hierarchy is horrific because you tend
oh,
to
tell me
find
about it.
it's horrific. Like it
Mhm.
tends to be the influencer, the person that's told to go fish for a speaker. It tends to be a woman. So I have a call with a woman. The woman's like, "Oh yeah, we think you're amazing." Then it goes to a white, middle-aged, middle class to upper class man. And what they do, they go, "Well, there's a choice of 4 or 5." And they go, "I'll pick that one that looks just like me. See that one that looks
I
just like me?
know. Oh, we're
I'm having
talking
that
about.
one."
Oh, don't get us started because we don't have another hour. Let us not talk about what we like. That is, and so this. How are we going to change anything? How are we going to do anything different if we keep just picking mini-me's? If we keep
Well,
just
we
voices
stand
that
up.
sound like ours, how
But
are we going to
yeah,
learn anything? How are we going to grow? How are we going to truly? Oh,
comes back to the echo chamber, doesn't it? But that's where
yes,
again we need
yes.
to stand out. We cannot blend in. We've got to
We
stand out because
cannot.
people see us as the leaders of
Mhm.
change, and it's our duty to get up every day and not
Yes,
be activist, just be factualist. Go out there and do what you say
live
you are going to
the
do
difference.
and bring it through. So, oh, I
Live
like
the
that.
difference.
Don't be activist, be factualist.
Naturalist, I love it. I'm going to steal it. I'll give you credit
You
though.
can have it. You're welcome. We're a team.
I'll give you credit for it. Yes, no, we have 4 minutes left, Ali. So at this stage, I usually ask my guests to just after everything they've said. I'm going to put you on solo view now. So spotlight you. You tell the audience if there's one thing that they remember that you have said today. This is the one thing you want them to remember. There you
So
go.
what does smash it mean to you? So what does your version of smash it look like? Because I believe that it's for every person individually to smash it in their own way. Ultimately, I think it means happiness. So I think it's really digging deep in yourself to find out what actually makes you happy, not what makes other people make you happy, but what do you want? What are your goals and how can you achieve them? And of course, if you would like to attend the Apex Hotel in Bath, 16th of January, it's from 9:30 till 4. We will be covering off all of the things in those topics because what we sometimes find is it's easier to be in a peer group, in a community, and bounce those ideas. And again, sometimes with people who have got different ideas, that helps clarity to get you to your goals and enable you to smash it. There is also a discount code which has been flying around, which is Bernie20. So I hope to see you in January 16th, Apex Hotel in Bath, and joining Bernie and I having a great day to smash it.
Oh, fantastic. There you go. We're in the last 3 minutes, 2 minutes. I feel sad. I'm losing you to the day.
Oh,
I know you have
don't
so much to
worry.
do, Ali. You have
Don't worry.
energized me so much. I'm sure you've energized others. And this is going to be going out on all my platforms, on my YouTube channel, on the Master and Diversity channel, which has thousands and thousands of views and nearly 1,500 subscribers. So let's see you. Come on now, come on. Let's come on and let's smash it. Let's have a fantastic Christmas. Remember, for me, my takeaway is don't be activists, be factualists. Every day is a school day. It is about your mindset. And authenticity is key, because at the end of the day, it's about legacy, it's about the collective, it's about the people that are in our teams, it's about the regions within which we work, and it is also about not capping ourselves and putting ceilings. It's smashing the ceiling and putting down our hands and helping the others to come up with us, because you know my mantra, folks, we go together or not at all. Yes? So thank you for joining me. It's a wrap. Have a fantastic Thursday. It's Throwback Thursday. Let's get some vibe going, some memories. My memory and my throwback is that wonderful day when I chased after Ali and said, "I'm gonna be your friend." And I am the person who has the art of getting what I want as well. Thank you, Ali. Thank you so much. So hang back with me, Ali. Bye, folks. Have a fantastic Thursday. See you soon. See
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.